Yo guys, it's Vin. I'm gonna make this real quick. I'm sure we all know about the recent 5.03 shadow patch that changed a bunch of things, most notably cannon, turning it from one of the worst weapons in the game to, in my opinion, an easy top 5 pick. Now, I'm a level 59 Zol main with many hours on cannon, and I'm here to make an updated guide on how to use it, including the moveset, combos, reads, utility, and some really good tech that I haven't heard anyone on YouTube talk about. So, I hope you're excited for the video, and let's just hop right into it. Alright guys, cannon time baby, let's go. So the main thing in patch 5.03 that was changed about cannon is that this first hitbox comes out a little bit higher than it did before, meaning that although the frame data wasn't changed, example, Dlight Sair is still 3 dodge frames, it's unjumpable. It doesn't matter. It's unjumpable if you hit the sidelight close, which is amazing, because you know what that means? It means that cannon is basically in the same spot that it was in 2020 summer, like low tier city when Sandstorm was destroying everybody with cannon, just 0 to deathing people non-stop, because Dlight Sair is a reliable string. So now if you catch a dodge, you can read a dodge, Dlight Sair, recovery. Another thing that was changed about cannon is that the recovery, the last few frames, these last 2 frames here, they have a way smaller hitbox. Although it does look a lot major if you do find the pictures. It looks pretty substantial, but it's not really affecting anything because this hitbox still exists. So you're still going to be able to get some stupid recoveries like this. You're still going to be able to Dlight Sair recovery at the right health, which is crazy. Anyway, that's all the things that they changed about cannon, at least as far as I know of. I'm not sure. Again, I just got home, so I didn't read all of it, but I'm still here making this guide for you. Let's go into the moveset. Nlight is essentially a wall, just like Sword Nlight, except when you hit it, it spikes them downwards. This makes it really good off stage, and on the ledge. If you can spam Dlight here to keep someone on the ledge stalled, or you can GC Dlight to kill someone if they're coming back from the stage. We'll get more into this later. Another thing is that Nlight is really good for stringing out of Dair. You can do Dlight, Dair, Nlight, which is a really reliable string. Although it's many dodge frames, people just don't dodge it because the animation is really subtle. They just can't react that fast. Nlight also, after that, you can string to like Dair and then Dlight Dair. That's a little bit complicated and it doesn't work all the time. One that does work a lot though is Nlight GC Dlight, which we'll talk more about later. And another thing that we'll talk again later is Nlight Sair, which is really solid. That is also unjumpable. Alright guys, let's talk about Dlight. Dlight is your main string starter and dodge punishing tool because it strings into Sair. Dlight is also a really good chase down option because even if you don't dodge, this move does cover some distance. So you can basically just dash Dlight to cover a lot of distance. Although this move does have a lot of recovery frames, or not a lot, but it does have some recovery frames, you can wake up with Nlight, which is really good. Dlight is your main true combo starter. It strings Dlight into Dair pretty much no matter where you hit it. You can also GC Dlight. Yo guys, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to say that I kind of left out the most important thing about cannon, which is knowing how to kill, so that's completely my bad. It's Dlight Nair. If you do Dlight into a jump Nair, it combos from red or later healths, and if you catch a GC Dlight, you may have to do a falling Nair depending on how high you hit the GC Dlight. Alright, anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Sorry about that. Dlight. This hitbox is crazy. This hitbox allows you to clip people on the edge. It allows you to do things like this off stage. It allows you to spot dodge and then GC punish really easily. Basically, Dlight is, in my opinion, one of your best moves, just because of how reliable it is and how versatile it is. You can use it in basically any scenario, and although just like the sidelight, it does have some recovery frames, you can Nlight right after. Now let's go into the cannon aerial kit. In my opinion, cannon has one of the best aerial kits in the whole game. Nair is basically unpunishable. This move hits right above you and you can spam this like crazy. It also has some more utility tech like stalling your recoveries to be able to cover really far distances. We'll get more into that later, but just know that Nair is your main anti-air because of the fact that you can juggle with it. The high active frames, the high hitbox, people just run into this move like crazy. Alright guys, now let's talk about Cannon Sair. Cannon Sair is great, and I already went over the changes, so I'm not going to go over them again, but just know it strings right out of sidelight, that is unjumpable. It also goes into recovery, which is really great at certain healths. from like yellow to maybe light orange. You can also do GC Dlight Sair true into recovery also, and another really niche thing that I know Sandstorm mentioned in one of his old canon videos is that if your opponent is on the edge, you can do Dlight Sair true if you catch just the tip of their head. Dair is probably your best move on canon, at least in my opinion. The hitbox is crazy, it has so much utility. You can dash jump it, you can just fall into a Dair, you can use it off stage to spike people. If you hit Dair on the floor, the hitbox bounces up and into your opponent. However, a weird thing is that this doesn't happen on the wall, so a Dair like this is completely useless. Don't do that ever. It strings out of Nlight, like I said earlier. It's combos out of Dair. It's just really useful, just like Dlight, and you should spam this move as much as you can. Alright, a few more things. Recovery, I already mentioned the changes to recovery about the hitbox. It's still a really bonkers move. This is what the exhausted versions look like. You can really catch people off guard. It can be on the edge. It can be used as a reading tool. If you go like chase dodge recovery or even chase dodge reverse recovery, that is really solid. Yeah, that's basically all there is to recovery. Just know that it's like bow recovery, but slightly less good. Groundpround is another really underrated move on canon. It strings really well out of Nlight. You can Nlight jump Groundpround, which I know a lot of the pros have talked about. A lot of people already know that. But if in case you didn't, Nlight into Groundpound is a great string off stage because people like to drift in. Again, we'll get more into this later. Groundpound is a really niche hitbox on the stage. I really wouldn't recommend this, but in case you do hit a ground pound like this, don't be surprised if it kills. It has a lot of force on the side for whatever reason. Another thing to mention is that if this ground pound connects, it's really, really strong. This will likely hit, and just like bow players like to do, you can do ground pound into chase dodge down Dair, which is a great string to catch people who spam jump. Again, we'll get more into this later. Alright, now that that's all out of the way, let's hop into the main combos. Like I said earlier, Dlight Dair is your main combo. It's your bread and butter string. It's really good because Dlight has a huge hitbox. Dair is consistent. You can GC Dair, GC Dlight Dair, and everything. The main reason why Dlight Dair is so good is that it does a 30 damage, which is crazy. Let me turn on damage, just so you can see. I'm running 8 Strength Zol, and this is 8 Strength Onyx, so yeah, this does 30 damage, which is insane. Also, it puts you in a perfect position to read. So basically, if your opponent spot dodges, let's go over some reads. Yep, you can just Sidelight Sair recovery. Another thing that is good to know about Sidelight Sair recovery is that if you catch this dodge, sometimes you're gonna have to do a chase dodge to hit the recovery. In my experience, people don't normally dodge that for whatever reason, but they don't, so I'm not complaining. Now, I know a lot of people already know about this read from when canon was broken, but in case you don't, Dlight Dair chase dodge, oops, my bad guys, chase dodge forward reverse Sair. Sidelight is really good, and now that Sidelight is good again, you can string it into Sidelight Sair recovery, which is amazing. If they dodge out, you can do chase dodge forward like that. You can basically cover almost every dodge, every downward and sideways dodge with a Sidelight, with a Sair. Another read that is pretty niche, I haven't really heard anyone talk about this one before, but if your opponent spams jump, if I put them higher damage, yeah. If your opponent spams jump and they're in around orange, you can do a chase dodge recovery. You can also do chase dodge reverse recovery if you know they're gonna jump in, but that's a little bit more niche. Another thing about this read is that it's really safe. GC Dlight Dair, if you miss, it doesn't matter because you're in this position and it's really hard for your opponent to punish you. Especially because if you're falling back down, you can cover yourself with a Dair. For example, like this, cover yourself with a Dair, like that. Okay. That pretty much covers Dlight Dair, excuse me. Now, if this were the previous patch and you caught a random dodge, I would have said to do Dlight Dair Nlight because people don't normally dodge out of it. And although I still recommend using this, I would definitely recommend Sidelight instead of a Dlight to punish a dodge, because Sidelight strings into Sair, and you can also read after Sidelight Sair, which is pretty interesting. Now, if you catch a Sidelight Sair, and you know your opponent is going to drift inwards, you can do a jump reverse Sair, which is really, really solid. You can also now do this, jump, and then Sidelight Sair, jump, GC, reverse Sidelight, Sair, if you know they're gonna go inwards, like immediately. That's kind of hard to catch, but I promise you, a lot of people, when they're getting a 0 to death by cannon, when they're getting stringed to absolute hell, they spam dodge key inwards. They spam all their movement direction, all their movement keys inwards, meaning that if you're ready for it, you can do jump, GC, Sidelight, Sair. Now, although this jump GC reverse Sidelight does cover a lot of options, I wouldn't really recommend it, because using your dodge off stage like that is kind of dangerous, especially if you do miss the Sidelight. Your opponent can kind of just turn around and catch your landing. So like, let's say you do this and you miss. As your opponent's coming back to stage, you don't have a dodge anymore and you used all your options. So if they have another cannon, if they have a bow, Katars especially, any weapon that does a lot of damage off one read, or can do a lot of things off one read, you're kind of screwed. So I wouldn't really recommend it. Generally, the safe option is to jump reverse Sair if you know they're going to go in, or if they're not going to do anything, Sidelight Sair, jump Dair is really safe if they're in white to yellow. If they're in orange, Sidelight Sair, recovery, you guys know this, oops. Sidelight Sair recovery is really good. If they're a little bit higher, you're gonna have to do a chase dodge. Wow, I'm terrible. You're gonna have to do a chase dodge to catch that Sidelight Sair recovery. And another thing you may have just saw me accidentally do that I was just gonna get into is that if you miss the recovery, you can come back and jump Sair. Now that I've covered reads out of Dlight, Dair, and also follow-ups after Sidelight, let me cover Nlight. Now, something that a lot of people don't really mention about Nlight is how subtle the animation is. She doesn't really move either, and in fact she doesn't move at all, unlike Sidelight. So this is way bigger of an animation. So I find that after Dlight Dair, also because people are expecting a Sidelight, they dodge immediately. They dodge this, even if it's not too many frames. But because Dlight Dair Nlight, the animation is so subtle, a lot of people don't dodge this. Even though it may be more frames, just know that people don't really dodge Dlight, Dair, Nlight. So one of the biggest tips that I can give cannon players to starting out a match is if you catch a Dlight, Dair, always go for the Nlight, because afterwards you can catch something like ridiculous like that. I can't tell you the amount of times that people do Dlight, Dair, I do Nlight, they don't dodge, and then they jump into the GC Dlight. Another really common option out of Dlight, Dair, Nlight is people jump. A lot of people jump out of Dlight, Dair, Nlight, which is kind of dumb, because if you think about it, you can just do Sair into recovery, like I just did. Now, again, just because a lot of people don't dodge out of Dlight, Dair, Nlight, doesn't mean that everyone will. So in my opinion, it's still better to go for Dlight, Dair, maybe chase dodge reverse Sair, even though that's kind of like the common option. Definitely the best option on cannon though is Dlight, Dair, react, Sidelight, Sair, recovery. At least in my opinion, that is the best cannon option. Let's go over edgeguarding with cannon. If you're on the edge with a cannon, as I said earlier, you can kind of just, spam Nlight over and over again, because look how safe this is. You can cover the wall, although this won't really cover people like with their head slightly upwards. It won't really catch them, but it doesn't really matter because it keeps them at bay anyway, which sets you up to do this, Groundpround, which is really, really fast. Now, another way to mix up your edgeguard, besides just spamming Nlight over and over again, is Dlight. Now, remember how I said that Nlight can't really catch people hugging the wall like this because the hitbox isn't really that low, it kind of skips above them? Well, Dlight has a really ridiculous hitbox, and just like I mentioned before, GC Dlight Sair recovery is a pretty reliable combo in orange. If you catch somebody on the edge, it's basically like you're doing a GC on them, except you're not using the dodge, because you're in the same position as here to there. So if you do catch a Dlight on the edge and you do then you're able to follow up Sair true and a lot of times into recovery. And again, you can even extend the combo further after Dlight on the edge, Sair recovery, like by doing jump Sair, although I would definitely not recommend that because as you saw there, I just killed myself. You can also do some character specific stuff. I know a lot of people have seen the Sandstorm clip where he does Dlight Sair recovery, GC Ensig to cover an in dodge or something like that. Again, that is also very risky. I wouldn't really recommend going for that consistently, but just know that you can follow up more after recovery, especially because you haven't used a dodge, because you just did Dlight on the edge. One more thing to know about your edge guards is ground pound. I know kind of dash jump ground pounding is like a noob thing. It's kind of like a gold tactic. It does catch a lot of people, and I'm not really sure why. This may be just something to my playstyle, but it's a tip that I think is worth sharing, so I'll share it. I like to spam Dlight and Nlight on the edge like this, kind of just spamming like this. And a lot of people, this forces them on the edge. It either forces them here or it forces them to go outside here. If it forces them to go outside, you have the moves for it. You can recovery to kill them. You can even Nair to kill them. You can even dash jump Dair if you know they're going to be going out like that. Basically, they're screwed if they try to go outwards because you have all the juggle options to catch them. So the only option for them really is to kind of hit you as in between your moves, to come up the wall here, right? But the thing is that before they do that, they have to be near the wall to be ready to attack you. So as you see, as you're spamming Nlight, as you're spamming your cannon moves, waiting up here for them to come to you, you see them creeping up the wall, dash jump ground pound. It's really, really simple. It's really stupid. Too many people fall for it. I'm not sure why, but it just works. And if you're playing a character, like a 10 strength character like Zol, you're gonna be killing them in light orange. I am not joking. Let's go over some more edge guarding things. If you don't want to stay on the edge, per se, and spam like I do, let's say you want to get an early kill like this, or just simply edge guard them out here, jump Sair into the wall is really solid. I don't see a lot of people do this, but if someone's coming back to stage, just like Axe, how you can jump Sair into the wall with Axe, or like Katars, jump Sair into the wall with Katars, jump Sair into the wall with cannon is really good because you get your jumps back by touching the wall and you can immediately get off. Also, if you hit a Sair, you can do jump Dair to catch their knockback. Because if you remember, sidelight Sair sends them slightly upwards. So if you catch a Sair off the wall, you can do jump Dair, which is pretty much lethal if they're on orange. Another thing that you can do to edgeguard people coming backwards, which in my opinion is the most optimal thing to do, is just daring. You can mix up jump Dair, you can do falling Dair. Another really good thing is dash jump reverse Dair. That is really solid. Basically any option you think of plus a Dair works because Dair is just that good of a move. It has such a crazy hitbox, some good active frames, some good hit, like what did I say? I already said hitbox. I said hitbox twice. That's just how good it is. Basically, Sair and Dair are your friends off stage. Another thing to note is that GC Dlight off stage is a stock ender. If you have someone sent off stage and they're coming backwards, simply fall, react to them, GC Dlight because the hitbox is crazy, and if you catch it, Dlight Dair, they will die because they haven't touched the wall yet. Another thing to know is that GC Nlight is another stock ender. This move is a spike. You can use it to catch jumps. You can use it to, you can string Nlight into GC Nlight to catch jumps. Because the active frames are so high, if you do an Nlight into GC, delayed GC Nlight, that will catch a lot of people off guard if they spam jump. If they don't spam jump and you hit an Nlight, you can do Nlight ground pound into Dair, which is really good. If they were to go up like this, then you can do Nlight GC Dlight, and then Dair, which is a stock ender. If you're feeling really ambitious, you can do Nlight or anything, catch a Dlight off stage and into Sair, which is really solid. It's really risky, but it's really solid. In my opinion, the most optimal thing to do is Nlight into falling Dair, because you can even follow up after that. So of all the things you could possibly do after a cannon Nlight, definitely Dair is the most optimal one. Alright guys, I have one more thing to say about Cannon utility, is that its recovery game is insane. Although it can't really get too much vertical power, if you're like all the way down here, you're probably not going to be any better than the other weapons because Cannon recovery doesn't give you that much height. The horizontal recovery is crazy. It's almost like blasters, lance, and gauntlets, and the fact that you can just cover so much distance by just spamming your aerial kit. Let me show you something that I know I don't see a lot of people use, but I definitely see some people use, is that Cannon Sair combined with Nair is just ridiculous. It allows you to gain so much stalling power. So if you're really far off stage, I wouldn't spam Sair and Nair because it is predictable once you get into a rhythm. But I would instead mix up your options, like maybe Sair, jump, like your recovery, use your recovery, you can dodge, you can nair. Basically just mix up your options back and forth, and it'll make your recovery a lot more choppy, a lot less predictable, and most importantly, you're still gonna get back to the stage. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. I basically went crazy the moment I heard Dlight Sair was brought back into the game. And the moment I came home from school, I went right to my console and started recording. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely let me know in the comments below what I need to work on, because there's always stuff to work on. And yeah, have a great night. Bye.